Hello everyone and welcome to There's a New Tank Available Somehow, so here's a new video. Today I will be talking to you about the Waffen F1.0, which of course we all know as the Waffentrager E100, but Blitz wanted to give its own spin on it, so they went with the name Waffen F1.0 for some reason. But basically this is it is a ginormous tank. It's got two different guns, a 3-shot gun and a 5-shot gun, and it is a very fun tank to drive, but in the right circumstances. Because basically with the size of this tank, you have to always be aware of where you're at, how tall you are, where you can be, what kind of cover you've got around you, can you get into that cover in time. And basically if you are out in the open too long, you will get absolutely massacred. Because basically the tank has a little bit of turret armor in the ways of 48 in the front, 37 in the sides, 10 in the rear, and hull armor of 185 in the front, 82 at the sides and 42 in the rear. But because of the size of this tank, most people will just be shooting you in the face wherever you are at. Like even if you go on Himmelsdorf and you are on the train track side, people can actually shoot you above the trains, so that makes this tank pretty tricky to drive. However, if it does work for you, it is just such a wonder. Like, the tank has a 30-second clip reload, so that's another thing that you always have to take into account. Like, if you are driving it like I am, I have to take into account that for the next 17 seconds still, I will be useless and I will not be able to get some damage in, so I can also not really afford to let them shoot me all that much. Because you don't have the HP pool of the mouse, you don't have the armor of the mouse, but you do have the size of the mouse. So that is something to just always take into account. And in this case, I know I'm going to eat a shot, but if you eat one shot for delivering your clip, it's not too bad. However, like I said, when people shoot at you, most of them, they will hit you and they will hurt you. And you just have to be very, very careful. Like in this case, it's the teammates that allow me to do the damage that I want to do. And that allows me to move forward, and I'm going to get shot from the other side of the map, so I have to be careful with that as well, because there too they can very easily just shoot me and hurt me. But if you do manage to get that clip in, it is so satisfying. And in this case I thought that I would be able to get another shot in, but I got a kill for 60 HP. But yes, then basically you have the choice to reload your clip again, so that's what I decided to do, and I know that I will be useless for another half minute. So thinking that Laleo might be trying to come up behind me and just get some damage in that way, I decided to use this building as a hiding spot. But that's what I mean. You have to be aware of these things. What can hide you? What can keep you safe as you reload? How long do you have until you get rushed? Because this tank kind of invites that as well. But the Leo stays there, so I decided to just go pay him a visit instead. And I do think that a lot of people will struggle in this tank just because of the sheer size. They will not know exactly where to go with it. It cannot hold like a mouse can with the size that it's got. But when you manage to get that clip in, it's just such a beauty of a tank, and it just feels so mean to drive and just eat everyone you meet for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, whatever meal you want to put to it. It just really works that way. So I think that is the strength of this tank. If you manage to get your clip in, it is an absolute monster. I do think that this tank will be absolutely fabulous if you tune it with someone, because if they can be the primary target and they can draw the basically the fire of the enemy tanks, and you get to clip them out and you get to just reload in peace and then just clip them out again, the damage potential of this tank is just huge, just like the tank itself. But the frustrating part of this tank is mainly the way that it's going to come into the game. Because from what I've understood, it will be a lot like the way that the Senlek originally came into the game. And later on it was the rammer tank that had a similar event as well. Basically there's like 3 tanks that you can get in that event. And you have to basically pay a lot of money in order to get a chance to get this tank. But because the drop chance of this tank is so low, it will just be super difficult to actually get the tank, or you have to be really, really lucky. And I'm going to absolutely hate that, because I will want this tank. I will want to drive it for the memes, for the laugh. But when the drop rate is that low, I don't want to spend my life savings. And I think that for a lot of people, it will require their life savings in order to actually get this tank. And that's something that I've just never been a fan of. I understand that new tanks will cost more money than when they come back later. But I've always liked the fact that Blitz is basically a free-to-play game. Yes, definitely pay to advance faster or to get new tanks faster, but technically speaking, with a bit of luck, because we all gamble at times, and just basically saving up your gold, watching ads, joining events and stuff like that, you can technically get everything in the game. However, with this tank, I'm not so sure. I'm not sure how Wargaming will basically hand out this tank later on, because with the Sandlag it got back like cheap, and I don't think that that's going to be the case for this tank. However, focusing back on the tank itself, like in this case I've got proper teammates, they are joining me, and even though this tank doesn't have the most armor, I'm so far doing good. I'm getting a little bit of damage in, not all that much. But now we're going to deal with the mouse. And this is basically exactly what I mean. Like, if you've managed to reload in peace and someone is just like this, and you can just get your shots in and you are just being a bully and you just murder them, and then you can reload your clip again. And basically, you know, it is 4v4 and you have to be a bit careful, because now for another 22 seconds you are out for the count. And you need your team. You need your team to help you. And in this case, the Char and the VK are just basically my heroes. They are doing exactly what they need to do. They are letting me reload in peace. And I'm being very careful because I don't want to get shot at all. I want to have the HP to waste later on if need be. And this is just basically how the tanks works. Like, if you have a bit of teammate and they can take the focus fire from you, you can reload in peace, you can get your shots in. It just makes all the difference. And in this case, the E50M is making things a little bit difficult. The VK is not looking too healthy, so I need to support him, and at the same time I need to be aware that I've only got now one shot left. And then we leave on very little HP, but the Char-42 is just being an absolute hero here and getting that kill in, allowing us to survive. I take my first hit here, and then Char and I block each other a little bit. But this is basically how the tank works. If you have a team, you will do fantastic. If you can reload in peace, if you can get the shots in, you can farm to your heart's content, and it's just so evil to drive, and it's fantastic. And it doesn't mean that it always goes well, because in this case I am getting the shots in and he is still reloading. He might shoot me again, he does. And then I miss because the aiming system, basically I was pressing the button rather than because I just wanted to shoot again. But now I'm on a long reload. I've got my teammates, they will do fine. I do get murdered for it, but he dies straight after. And overall, this was one of those games where I'm just like, yeah, this is how the tank works. This is why it is really good fun to drive. You just need someone to be there with you. But yes, I hate the fact how it's going to come into the game. I will absolutely want this tank. I have no idea if I'll be able to get it, because I'm definitely not going to spend my life savings on it. But yeah, that is basically my review of this tank. It does look fabulous. It is a ginormous tank. It is great fun to drive, and it sucks how it comes into the game. So that's it for me for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be seeing you guys later. Bye bye.